Hey there. Well, I've had some things swirling in my head and figured I'd just kind of get them out because apparently this helps. You're basically my therapist, and for that I appreciate it. And if you just send me or tell me where to send the check, I'll get that right over to you. So, I'm trying to make this transition out of my current career and into something more creative and just in line with my genuine self. Because it doesn't feel like my current work fits the bill very well. And the context of my life is such that I'm putting a lot of weight on this transition because I have a family and a house, and it seems hard to. It seems like something I really don't want to fuck up. And then I have, so that's like the practical side of it. And then I have this other side that is, I have a tendency to make things in my head, just make them so big and out of proportion, and I kind of put myself in this, almost like as the star of an epic story, and so whatever I do has to be epic, otherwise I'm just wasting life. And when one of my strengths, I think, is that I'm able to appreciate or at least I have an appreciation for the grandeur and temporal nature of this weird thing called life. I'm not saying I appreciate it as in I have all of the appreciation. Like, I don't know, but I definitely appreciate it. In a way that affects how I view things like this. By the way, this is just an amazing scene here. I'm right at the mouth of a river at the beach, so watching it just kind of barely flow, just barely enough to get over the sand here and hit the ocean, and the ocean is kind of coming in, swooping in. Anyway, I'm getting distracted because I love this place. Where was I? I feel like my decisions have to align with how grand life is, And that makes it really hard to do just like a reasonable thing. It's like it has to be unreasonable in its nature. I don't know how deep this is, but we're gonna find out. Oh boy. Am I going to find out? I have camera gear in my bag. Whew! Alright, we're good. We're good. It's only like thigh deep. Alright. Wouldn't want my tactical fanny pack to get wet. So I have this issue with making everything so big and then not doing anything. And it's like I'm taking it too seriously, I think. And I just watched, I was scrolling on YouTube, wasting life. Does that sound familiar? And it was an interview, a real short interview with someone, just like man on the street style. And this person was in their 60s. And the interviewer asked him something like, what do you know now that you didn't know when you were younger, and how would you do things differently, and that kind of thing. And the guy responded basically that, I had a lot of ambition when I was younger, but now that I'm older and see how, it's all going to end soon and that kind of thing, he's like, yeah, I relaxed a little bit. Like, it kind of doesn't matter. Like, I'm going to die, and like, what's all the fuss about? And so his advice to his younger self was just relax, It's okay, enjoy. Like, stop stressing and hustling so much and enjoy. And so I was just wondering about that, because I'm, considering this direction. Like, oh, maybe I'm gonna make it on YouTube. I don't know how or doing what, but I'm gonna choose this YouTuber direction. And then I'm like, okay, but is that's going to be a lot of hustle and stress to make work, I don't think that on average people that make a living online like that, I don't know that on average they're stressing less. I could see it being very stressful, and in a lot of different ways. Maybe the reality of being on social media in that way is awful. I don't know. I haven't actually done it. I'm just kind of dipping my toes in right now. And I don't know what my life would look like if I took that man's advice and just relaxed more. Just, hey, enjoy it. Like, if you're stressing, you're going to die anyway, and everyone else is too. Relax. Like, what would that be like? I don't know. What happens to the practical questions? Like, what happens to your mortgage and your your college savings for your kid or whatever, I don't know. That's all I've got anymore is I don't know. I know being here right now should be anyway in line with that. This is a beautiful place. So in a way for me to tune in to how amazing just this is. You could say nothing in a way, like without changing anything. It's wonderful here. I don't need to do anything to make my experience here blissful. So that's maybe a valuable tidbit. This is this is my regular spot here when I'm visiting family. This is where I grew up, and the mouth of this river here is just one of my favorite spots. It's so fun. You can swim in the river and just like let it push you right out into the waves and play in the waves and then come back, and it's just so much fun. Another thing that I saw was a short about the production of a movie. It was a Terrence Malick movie. I think it was Days of Heaven or Days in Heaven. I think it was Days of Heaven. And apparently, the director of photography, when making that film, which is considered one of the most beautiful films ever made, apparently he was going blind. And had to, for example, had to have an assistant take a Polaroid of every scene before they started shooting, so he could look at it up close under a big magnifying glass so we could actually see what it looked like. This is the guy responsible for how the movie looks. And that hit me hard because I'm a very visual person. I went to school for photography, and I see the world very much in the way that a movie is filmed. I see things in that way. And I value the way that I see the world, the beauty that I see. and I know that not everyone sees beauty in that way. There's lots of things that you can tune your attention on, and kind of you can develop a skill for interpreting, and it's just a way that you tune your antennae, you know. I just picked up a really good skipping rock because I can't not, because it's just so beautiful and perfect, and I want to skip it because I have a tuned way of seeing it, you know. Sorry, you're not gonna be able to see this, but and so I've got a visual system, you know, and the beauty of being able to see beauty, really see it and appreciate it, I think is a skill, and it's not in everyone. And it's important to me, you know. It's an aspect of my lived experience that is valuable to me. And I can appreciate that someone who has had a career dedicated to making beautiful movies, it's a wonderful craft and art form. Someone who has dedicated their life to that and is then going blind, and what that must have felt like to that person. And then in their transition to blindness to make one more film. I don't know, maybe he made another film after that, but just the fact that he was fucking making a film while going blind, and knowing that this might be the last one, and that I'm positive that person loved seeing beauty, and that it was important to them. And so it got me thinking about, you know, how much I value that, and that my experience like that, my experience of visual beauty, for example, is temporary. That even if I don't, you know, go blind for some reason, I will still die and not be able to see things anymore. And it's just, you know, got me thinking about how the whole thing is temporary. And I'm, you know, fussing about what I'm gonna be when I grow up. I'm fucking 39, and I'm like, who am I, you know? I don't know. Right now I'm just some dude walking on the beach talking to a camera, so whatever the hell that means. The cool thing is, though, at the moment, you know, like, I'm in paradise. It doesn't get any better. It's a beautiful beach, and it's perfect weather, and the water is nice, and this is good shit. And my wife and kid are over there making a driftwood fort or something, and it just doesn't get any better, I don't think. And yet, I feel, you know, anxiety and uncertainty, and like I don't know, like I don't know what I'm doing, and that's stressful as hell. Look at this. I'm gonna turn you around. It's just too good not to share, you know? I should probably just keep the camera on the water the whole time. You could still hear me, and then you wouldn't have to look at me this whole time. But my ego will not allow that. My face has to be front and center. That's what vlogging's all about, right? No. I'm really looking forward to this coach that I am going to be doing some calls with, because I just need guidance, you know? And I can feel I'm kind of emotional right now, and I'm kind of getting close to some, I don't know, saying things that are just emotional for me. But the fucking reason why I have to call a men's coach is because I don't have a dad anymore, and I can't ask him, you know? And when I watched that video on YouTube of interviewing this guy, you know, asking, hey, what would you do differently? Like, yeah, I want to ask my dad that. And I can't. And maybe I can, you know, maybe. I mean, I did know the guy pretty well. I can ask him in my head, and I'm pretty sure I know what he would say, you know? Doesn't mean it doesn't hurt. I don't know what to say right now. We used to come to this beach together, you know? It's just the closest beach to the house where I grew up. Like, this would be the closest. So, fastest, easiest, most convenient. And it turned into our spot because of that. I know that my dad would agree with that person that I was talking about. He would agree that it's just you worry about things when you're younger, that when you're older you go, why was I so worried about that? That didn't matter. What does that matter? You know, I'm at a stage right now where I worry now about my career, where I'm like, oh, what will people think, you know, if I just end up not doing anything career-wise. And that includes what will my family think. You know, most of all, maybe, especially my son. What will my son think of me when my son is entering into self-awareness and starting to look at his dad with more objective eyes and being like, yeah, who was my dad? What did he do? What was his deal? And I don't know what that deal is, but having a kid just really fucking puts the spotlight on you. But I know my dad would have agreed to just take it easy, relax, like, and why not just enjoy, you know? If you can, enjoy what you can. Cultivate a personal philosophy of, yeah, don't take it all so fucking seriously. But what do you think? You know, what do you think about the fact that you're gonna die too? And anybody that would view your life, you know, judgmentally, they're gonna die too. Everyone's gonna die, so what do you want to do with that, you know? Look how beautiful that is. I've got a different camera with me that will take better video than this, you know, vlogging setup. And so I'll shoot some video on that just to show you a little better what I'm seeing here, because the vlogging camera doesn't quite do it justice. So I think I want to do that now, and that way I can get myself to focus on the things that are here now and that I really love. Because I want to do that right now, instead of just, you know, going on and on about my existential dread. I don't know, maybe I'll like put some music on it or something. Is that how videos work? Anyway, I want to give you a little montage of what's going on around this place right now. But I'm going to wrap it up here as far as my walk and talk. So thanks for hanging out with me at this special spot of mine. And I hope you're having a fun time, not taking it too seriously. All right, see you next time.
There's the first phrase.
Told you we're all gonna die. Look, this guy knows it. He's just waiting.